Great. Okay. How's it going, everybody? This is another interview on MotivateMe313. I am here with the man, Coach Adam Mused. He is in the building today. I appreciate you, Coach, for doing this interview with us. You already know, man, how much I appreciate you, Coach.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah. Yes, man. And for those of you that don't know who Coach Adam is, I'm going to let him introduce himself, but just I want to quickly say, this guy right here is a man of his word. He's always putting people before him, especially his players and his students. So I appreciate you, Coach Adam, for all that you do. And we're going to get it going. And my first question I ask all my guests are, can you tell us about yourself?
Yeah, so to keep it kind of not so cliche, I am a Hamtramck native, born and raised, went to the school district there, through most of my high school career before being displaced and having to leave for some personal stuff. But I am a father, I am a coach, or former coach now, but I'm sure that I'll get back into that at some point in my life. I am a mentor, a friend, an educator, and I just try to put myself in the best position for some type of leadership to help people out.
Definitely, and I love how you mentioned hopefully that you will be getting back into the coaching thing, because first of all, you're my coach, and when you're my coach, you're always my coach, Coach Adam. You already know I'm going to be...
Yeah, that was my first year back in Hamtramck. Not a lot of people had faith in the program back then. A lot of coaches told me that I shouldn't go back because I was coming from, I just lost in the playoffs. A game away from being a regional champ, coaching at another high school. And then I had done a couple more years at some Detroit public schools, and then I was in the Catholic League before that. So I brought enough experience with me, but people kind of didn't see it. Everybody sees you as, oh, you're just from Hamtramck, They don't know what you've done away from there in order to kind of help your experience with it. So, I think ultimately coaching in Hamtramck helped me to get where I am today.
All right, well, there you guys go. That's Coach Adam talking about his experience in Hamtramck. So going on to that, we are going to talk about you as a coach. So what was your driving focus as a coach? Like, what was the main thing that you like to focus on?
So I got into coaching accidentally. It wasn't something I thought about. It wasn't something I planned to do after being an athlete. My neighbor was playing football, and I just started going to some of his practices, and he was a younger dude. So, then I got to talk with the coaching staff. I let them know I played a little bit here and there. They kind of bought into what I was saying, and after that, I kind of joined on, and I did some CYO football there, 7th and 8th grade, and I just kind of worked my way up to get to where I was before stopping. I won't say retiring, but stopping for a short time in 2018. So.
By the way, you got Maher Ayash tuning in saying that, man, you're the best coach, Coach Adam. He just wanted to make sure that he shared that with you, Coach. You know who Maher is. And by the way, yeah.
I know Maher as, baseball wrestler, but, Maher is probably a better boxer than all of that, and a lot of people don't know that.
Yeah.
This guy is a flame in him for boxing, and a lot of people that aren't from him might not know that. So, shout out to him. I see big things for him if he keeps going in the near future.
Definitely, and Maher, I know if he's still watching, he's definitely somebody that I'm going to want to interview eventually, just so that he can have that spotlight on him, because he definitely deserves it. And just throwing that out there, guys, Coach Adam's a humble guy, man. He has 2 district titles in baseball under his name. He has led people in wrestling to a lot of victories, because he's just a guy that, he's humble, man, but 3 district titles under the name?
3.
I'm sorry, my bad. I thought I got to get my facts together.
3 district titles, 1 undefeated league championship. We scored 129 runs, 10 games. So that's something I was proud about for those kids, man. They just I mean, it's hard to pull your stars off the field, and then when you put in your other unit, I won't call them second unit because they're just as good. But when you put in your other unit, you can't ask those kids to not play at their hardest because ultimately they're vying for a starting position as well.
There you go. And you said 129 runs in 10 games, pretty much 13 runs per game. That's amazing in baseball. So why do you feel it's important for players to be as mentally tough as they are physically tough? Because I remember as a coach, you like to preach mental toughness as well. And I agree to that 100%. So, but why do you feel that way?
So for me, as a coach, as a former player, I always looked at it as everybody always compared sports as an athlete or coaching. Here it's still to this day. Man, he was out there playing chess while everybody else was playing checkers. And chess is a thinking man's game, and I think it's more important to be mentally prepared than physically prepared sometimes, because the physical will come with you coming to practice every day working hard. That will always come, but if you're not paying attention and you're going through your reps and making sure you're doing it right, it's not a race when you're at practice. It's about being as high performance as you can. Because if you do it well, then in the game it's going to be easy. So mentally, being an athlete at a higher mental IQ is better than being physically important. Because again, like I said, the physical part will come. It will always come. And some kids are just naturally gifted physically.
Yeah.
So they need to, and I think that's what it is with a lot of my teams in Hamtramck is, we weren't the best team from, youth leagues up. We didn't really have much of that. Where a lot of our kids were starting sports and being thrown onto varsity teams at 14 years old versus 18-year-old kids going to college, some going Division I, so going to these big schools. We were physically able to hang with them, but I think it's the IQ level from not having as much experience is what kind of hindered us sometimes. But once we leveled the field mentally, we took off.
Yeah, definitely, and I can agree to that. So going on to the next question is, you always went over and beyond. You're definitely were a big player coach, and you always went over and beyond for your players as a coach. Why do you feel like that was the case?
So it was important for me to take that role, only because I wanted to give players a different type of environment and atmosphere when it pertains to playing sports. I wanted it to be different than what I experienced. Because while I had some good coaches and I experienced some good things, there were some times where coaches weren't the most ethical, or they did things where it was more about them and them shining versus the athletes learning and going through the motions of getting better and stuff like that. So if I was able to, let's say, have a relationship with a certain player and we build on that, and they're able to trust me, and ultimately they all trust me, I think that we have a better atmosphere to succeed because now we trust each other and we can push each other more that way.
There you go, and I can attest to that because that's what I gotten from you as a player, and that's the kind of vibes we got as well, playing under you as well, Coach. I know we kind of mentioned this again. Make sure that we're loud, because my laptop is not, I think, picking up as much as it should. So I guess try to be even louder if that's possible, Coach. So why do you feel it's important? You talk about the relationships with your players. So why do you feel it's important to keep a relationship with your players even after they're done playing for you? And I ask this question because even when I went off to college at the greatest university in the country, Michigan State University, I used to call you for advice, and you were always willing to pick up and give me even more advice than I even asked for. So why do you feel it's important to keep that relationship with your players even after they left playing for you?
It's funny you say that because, so I coached football baseball and wrestling while in Hamtramck. I have 2 Facebook groups with former baseball players and one with like former wrestlers. The wrestlers don't talk as much. Maybe that's just how they are, kind of grunt and go and stuff like that. But our baseball guys, they kind of talk a little more, and you know, they network with each other, and they kind of see how each other's doing. And you know, it's important. You know, right now I think that not just now, but for many years, that mental health is a big thing. And you know, unfortunately, I lost some players in my time coaching, and you know, if I'm able to just reach out to them and just say hello, or how you doing, or what's going on, or hey, do you need help finding a job, or hey, does anybody know where so and so could find a job, and just we kind of help each other. I mean, I think that brings it back to growing up in Hamtramck, as you know. Everybody kind of helps each other. With everything going on in the world, I think the only problems, issues we ever had in Hamtramck were never race related. They were more neighborhood related. Like, oh, you're from this neighborhood, I don't like
yeah.
I mean, we didn't see race, and you know, I'm proud to be from there. And, you know, that's a thing that our guys kind of do all the time, is they'll talk to one another and see how each other's doing, and you know, kind of just that. You know, we meet up from time to time. Some of these guys play softball with me. We have a good time now as adults. You know, they're able to, you know, speak a little more freely in their thoughts versus some of the stuff they probably would have never said when they were kids. But I just think it's important to see them through their journey, you know, because if they're successful in the long run, it might not be because of you, but you were a part of it. So.
Yeah, definitely, and I can agree to that too as well. Like when you're mentioning Hamtramck, like people may hear about this and that, and by the way, that died down, you know, the race stuff, but people don't realize that there's so many different races in one city that, you know, there had to be some little bit of fire happening just to get, you know, normalized, just to get, you know, get to know one another. But now, like, and you'll see this more than any other place, is the diversity in how everybody is together in the area. Like, you know, I like any city that would go through something like that would go through their, you know, little bit of troubled times, but to get to where we're at now, you know what I mean? And it just has to happen. It's human nature.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so going on from that one, man, I'm loving what you're saying, Coach, but I got my next question is, if there's some advice, because you did play D1 ball, correct?
Well, I played a little ball. I made it through camp. I got busted up. I got hurt. I got injured. The dream died. I think my mental approach to it was to outwork everybody. Ultimately, my body failed. So I was just happy to suit up for the short time that I was able to be in camp with those guys and push myself as best as I could.
Yes, exactly. And you, so basically you kind of got the little taste of it and how what it takes. So if there's some advice you can tell, like all the players out there who just, first of all, that want to play sports and then who want to play in college, you know, what would you tell them?
So this fires me up. This would be the part that you might like. So when I hear all the time that, you know, this coach promised me I'm going here and this and that, you know, don't listen to promises. Take it upon yourself, you know. Getting better doesn't stop because practice is over. You know, take the extra steps on yourself. If you want to go play college ball or, you know, no matter what level of you know, college it is, whether it be, you know, D1 through 3, NAIA, you know, all that stuff, you have to dominate the level of playing that you're on first before you can do that. You know, if you're able to do that, you know, the sky's the limit, because someone's gonna, you know, you never know who's gonna watch you. You know, so many people come out to these games and they film and, wow, that guy looks pretty good. I don't even know who this guy is. Wow, he's tearing up the field. You know, or he's shooting the lights out. Who is this kid? We've never heard of him. Just outwork everybody else. And if you worry about yourself more than you do everybody else, you'll be fine. But if you level, I mean, just dominate the the level of competition that you're on, you are on a good path to making it to the next level, no matter what level it is. But also be smart, because just because you want to go play somewhere, and I think that's where I fail, just because you want to go play somewhere doesn't mean that that's the place where you needed to be. I think I would have been a lot more successful had I gone to a smaller school and built my way up and did it that way. But I was stuck. I was young. Nobody could tell me nothing, and that's where I am now in my 30s, and I grow, and I push this on to other people. But just work your tail off, and don't leave it up to the coach. Well, my coach wasn't good enough. Well, listen, there's millions of coaches across the world. Not all of them have professional players that have played for them, and not all of them have won something, and they have professional athletes that have played for them. So it's all about yourself. You can't blame nobody but yourself.
I agree, man. I agree to that, and I think it's very important that you mentioned about doing it yourself. And especially like the kids also thinking that they're better than what they actually are. I think that's a big problem, and especially like being a coach in Hamtramck as well, knowing the kids. You want to motivate them, you want to push them, but a lot of the kids, like, since they're better than most of their teammates, think that I'm there. Like, I got it. It's over. What I like to tell them is what you just mentioned is you have to be the best player in the league. Like, that's my opinion, because there's a bunch of leagues in the state of Michigan. For you to even get looked at, be the best player in the league. Start from there. Be the best player in the district. Be the best player. Like, I think that should be their goals, instead of worrying about, hey, I'm the best player on the team. I score the most points. So I mean, what are your thoughts on that? I guess
it's easy to be the biggest fish in a fish bowl. What more can you say than that?
Yeah. There's ponds and rivers and lakes out there, though. That's a problem.
Never, ever been to. I remember going to a four-way years ago where we were pretty good. We were kicking the tail out of a lot of people. Like, who's this little school coming out of nowhere? And those dudes beat the crap out of us. And it's humbling, because being the best where you're at means nothing. It's a global view you have to have on it, because if you're getting noticed on the state level, then that's good. You'll make a little noise. You're getting noticed on the national level, you're going to make even a little more noise. But to be just the best player in your school means nothing.
Yeah.
You have to, like I said before, dominate the level of competition that you're on, and let your peers say, whoa, well, that guy's pretty good, and he might do this, he might do that, but again, it's all up to that person.
I agree, man. I agree. So my next question to you, Coach, is more of like a personal question to you, is what gets you up every morning? What is your intrinsic motivation for Coach Adam?
So I am the father of a 7-year-old little girl, only child. She is a ball of energy. She is my motivation to be better. She is my motivation to work harder. I've been stringing out my master's program for so long,
Yeah.
And now at my age, I'm going to finish finally in December. So
Congratulations, by the way.
Had 2 months, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I took time off. I had to take another class. I had to pay for this. Take a leave of absence. She is my goal for everything. She got bit by the athletic bug, and she's playing travel hockey. And I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. She's a little timid. She's more of a defensive-minded player and smart on offense, but I give her a year or two, and then she'll start mixing it up a little more. But she is everything I never knew I could be, 100%, and that's my driving force.
She is everything I never knew I needed. That's the quote of the day so far. I love that quote, man.
She is, man. I swear. She just texted me the other day. She shouldn't have a phone, but like I said, not the other day, but right before this interview. She's like, hi, hello. So, I'll do this little back and forth with her, but I don't know what I would do if I wouldn't be the person I am today if it wasn't for her.
That's awesome, man.
And as a father, as a parent, it doesn't have to be just a father. Mothers out there too. Once you have a child, you learn how to love, you learn how to defend, protect, and do everything differently than what you thought you could have. So
it's honestly, that's amazing because it's true what you just said. Like everything you were saying, like, I'm thinking about all the times that I had to change and do things too, man. And it's crazy being that parent. It definitely changes you for the better. It's like you get these powers that you never had just because you got a kid now all of a sudden.
You know what? You'll never be financially ready. You'll never be mentally ready or physically ready for a child. But it's a blessing that's given to you, and mold it the way you can, hopefully in the right way, and kids will take off and share your story and journey with them as they grow old.
Awesome, man, awesome. And then my next question for you is, for someone who may be walking in the same or similar footsteps as you, like let's say your daughter was here and watch this video eventually, what advice would you give them? Motivate me.
Okay, so we all talk about cycles of poverty in our life. Maybe I'm from here, maybe nobody's ever graduated, maybe nobody has ever made it before in your family. Education is the ultimate equalizer for breaking poverty. Never stop going. I'm pushing my nephew right now. Keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. Don't stop. Once you're comfortable with where you're at, maybe it's a bachelor's degree, maybe it's a master's, maybe it's a doctorate, who knows? Get where you want to go and where you're happy. Find that job you want. That's what our parents did. A lot of our grandparents and some of the people that I've come across in my path is they went to school, never stopped, got that job, worked those 20, 30 years. Now they're retired early, and they're just living their best life. So never stop. Education first, everything else after. I mean besides God and family, but that's a Coach Mullen thing. So you might remember that. It's God, family, and everything else.
Yeah.
So let everything else be your education, then your friends and what else. There's a quote, I'm sure that you're a writer and you read a lot of things, that be the change you want to see in the world. Live by that and you should be fine. Unless you want the world to be negative.
Yeah.
It won't be good, but that's the advice I would give people. Just do as much school as you can. Maybe school's not for you. I guess I should rephrase it and say learn as much as you can.
It's true.
Because trades are just as much as important as school.
I'm happy that you said
Everybody
that.
might be a school person, but I know people who are welding. They do underwater welding. They make $100+ K a year, just to do that. So, had I known about that earlier on in life, maybe I would have ran down that path. But yeah, just never stop learning and be the change you want to see in the world.
And I'm very glad that you mentioned that, because this is why I did this page, is because obviously you're an educator and you're educated and you have almost a master's completed, and congratulations on that. But it's important for us to share that message, even as educators, that it's not all about going to school when we say learn, and keep learning, because you can learn every day. You learn something different, and you don't know what you can use to inspire and to maybe even make a career out of what you learned. So at the end of the day, I'm glad you mentioned that. My last question, not really a question, more of like a statement, or maybe it's a question, is Is there any final thoughts that you want to say out there to anybody that is watching?
Well, I'm honored to be on this show. I've seen a lot of people that you've interviewed. I don't hold myself to the standard that they do. I mean, I think that they're a lot better than me.
That's not true, Coach. That's not true. Don't start that, Coach.
I'm just a normal guy who, you know, like everybody else, works hard, worries about their family, comes home and likes to relax. I thought you were going to ask me about that stuff on the wall.
Yeah, man. You know, that's what I'm looking at, and I'm like, are those drones? What's going on? You're a drone master.
That's just a hobby stuff. So this is like my hobby room here, man. You know, and I am big on STEM for kids, and you know, learning is, like I said, the ultimate equalizer. So that's just something I dabble with.
Is that a car drone down there? What is that? Is that a?
It's the RC car.
Oh, okay.
To fly it around the park as fast as you can.
You could fly that?
Well, no.
Oh, okay.
Drive it at a high rate of speed. That's what she does, and I mean, she's already broke it once or twice, but you know, it is what it is.
That's awesome, man. Hey, and I think having a hobby is very important, just for, you know, your own mental and physical state. Just having something to do, man. And you know, for some people it's writing, for some people it's, you know, that right there, and especially when our bodies don't take sports as good as it used to.
Tell me about it. I'm feeling it.
Yeah, we have to find something else, man, to keep us going.
I gotta go see my chiropractor tomorrow.
Well, Coach, hey, by the way, our slogan is ordinary people doing extraordinary things, Coach, and you live by that. I think we're all ordinary people. You just do a lot of extraordinary things, Coach, and I appreciate you doing this interview. This is just another interview on MotivateMe313. Coach, if you want to stay on, I'm just going to stop the lives just so we can chat a little bit longer, if that's okay with you.
Hey, everybody stay humble, man. Just stay humble.
Exactly. Thank you, Coach. I appreciate it.